the Williams Gaming Club Williams Gaming Club Discord, !Smart Discord, to get involved. And Guru Cookie will take the line, and we will get ready to head on over to the Porsche race. But in the meantime, of course, we have a small little intermission before we get down to the Porsche Playground, which we saw in chat. Productive Panda, cheering on one of their teams, Panda City Esports. So in the Porsche Cup Championship, we'll be keeping an eye out there for Claudio and Mondre. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Also, Captain Speedy wondering about the sim pack. I also wanted to mention on that one, head on over to the Discord because I think you've passed Paul and I's expertise for that. Somebody in the Discord, though, will absolutely know in the tech stuff channel. That will be the place to go.
Yeah, it's great. If you're not actually a member of the Williams Esports Gaming Club Discord channel, I do recommend you do so. It's growing in number seemingly by the hour, and it's full of people just like us, just like you, that enjoy our real and virtual motor race. It's a great community, always willing to help you out, always willing to give you advice, or just banter, if that's the kind of thing you want. And of course, you can catch all the news about Williams Esports, the Williams Gaming Club, and Williams Racing themselves as well. So yeah, check all that one. Very, very interesting place to spend some time. But the important part is, Mike, as you've already mentioned and we'll mention again, it's the place to go if you want to find out where you can race next, because that's where all the information will be. That's how you get yourself signed up, and you could be on screen and enjoying a whale of a time on one of these many races that we hold here at WGC.
Absolutely. We have endurance races on both iRacing and ACC, and some more leagues coming up as well. Whichever platform you are on, we have races for you. Head on over to SimGrid, head on over to Discord to get involved. But folks, up and coming here, we do have, of course, the Porsche Playground, and we are going to be keeping an eye on three men that had the top three: John Papale, Nico Viani, and Nils Baltus, a man in the previous race that we saw. We'll see what he can manage in the Porsche Playground. There's some new names joining us as well, but I cannot wait as we get ready to head down to one of my all-time, if not my all-time favorite track. It is, of course, going to be Silverstone. So I'm looking forward to this one, Paul.
You can tell that you've never been to Silverstone because you'd never say it's your all-time favourite track if you tried to be a spectator there. I'm sure it's a great place to go racing, but to watch, there's been better. So, Mike, over to you, sir. Let's build up for our second race of the day.
Yes, indeed. Let's head on down, folks, to the UK as we go to Silverstone. Located, of course, in Northamptonshire, England, we have the Porsche Playground Season 3. Back at it and better than ever. Here on the home soil for the British team, we, of course, are starting off round one at Silverstone. Misano up next, Spa Brands Hatch, and then finishing it off on one of the all-time greatest finishing tracks at Suzuka. As I said, located in Northamptonshire, UK, 18 corners here tonight, 8 to the left and 10 to the right, with a whopping 11 meters or 30 feet of elevation. Of course, 3.6 miles, 5.8 kilometers as well, on a format here that we have 60-minute practice, which is already taking place, a 15-minute quali, which we'll be jumping into the middle of, and 30 minutes of on-track action to decide who is going to be the fastest and the quickest Porsche to gain 66 points. Of course, first position gaining 66, second gaining 60, 55 for third, all the way down to 28 for 12th, and then beyond that, the consolation for anyone in 13th to 21st receiving 2, and 22nd to 30th receiving 1 singular point, as the often is called pity point, of course, where we will be seeing every point matter in this championship, as we often have. Of course, one of the previous winners, John Papale, Nico Viani, as well as, of course, plenty of other names, Emery Horvath, Hyundai Aroso, Axel Van Mol, that we're going to be expecting tonight, Paul, and seeing just exactly how they've transitioned over from one season to the next.
Yeah, this is what, as I mentioned before, fascinates me about first races of the season, is just basically finding out what the form book looks like live while we're on track. And I'll have to admit this one, and a commentator should never do these things, but I'm going to do them anyway. Why not? We're all friends here. This is absolutely and categorically my favourite category in Magic Mondays. I adore the Porsche Playground. These cars have been sensational all the way through the previous seasons that we've run this category under whatever name we've chosen at the time, and I don't think this one's going to be any different. It's a stacked field of drivers, as you've mentioned, some returning names, some new names, drivers that we know are rapid as it comes in a variety of different cars. But importantly, these are cars that you can race. These are cars that reward driving class, and these always produce an absolute cracker. This next 30-minute race, Mike, honestly, I am on pins with excitement for this one.
Absolutely. The Porsche 992 GT3 Cup car, of course. A 4-liter naturally aspirated flat 6 with about 510 brake horsepower, or otherwise translated as enough to tenderize an elephant. Coming in at about 2,700 pounds. It's punchy, it's quick, has no traction control. It has ABS, that's one assist that it does have, but it is a rear-engined, squirmy, squirrely car at the best of times. And as you mentioned, Paul, it produces some of the best racing, bar none, I think, that we've seen out of any championship. And we're going to be seeing no shortage of that here tonight, as Silverstone is a track that often will deliver when it comes to racing. It's an easy to overtake track. Every corner pretty much allows for some form of action.
Yeah, could not agree more. Even with the changes that the Grand Prix track has made over the last 10 years or so, it still remains at the heart a very, very high speed, commitment-friendly, driver-engaging racetrack where, as you say, good racing is almost certainly guaranteed. It's in use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year in the United Kingdom. It's the central racetrack in the UK, so to speak, and it deserves that mantle because it is just the kind. Some tracks, it's not scientific, it's not looking at history, just some tracks just produce absolutely glorious racing for reasons undetermined. And Silverstone, love it or loathe it, is definitely one of those tracks. Throw in to that spicy little concoction these little Porsches. It would be very impressive indeed if you don't make a great race out of this one, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Certainly are, and here we can hear the buzzing bees as we hop down to track, and we can see everyone out there in the qualifying. It's going to be 2 separate silver and gold championships, I think, for the for this no, I don't think this category is going to be separated by it. I think everyone is in the same category. It's just plates being shown on this one for the sake of confusion. We'll have that confirmed. But also, welcome to Anna Cordeville, or Anna Corvi, and hola, ¿cómo estás? Hope you're doing very well. Let's go on board here for a full-on lap here with Imre Horvath. And Paul, why don't you take us through it?
So here we go then through the first corner of Abbey. This is one of the new corners, one of the amended corners of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. And we get a little bit wide, do we do, with Imre Horvath. In fact, apologies, it's Cops. It's the other layout. As we come through now into the most famous section of corners in the whole of the United Kingdom, if not the world. Of course, it is the Baggett's and Beckett's complex of turns. You've got to carry the momentum, you've got to carry the speed through the corners here, because you're going to use that one all the way down this long hanger straight. This is an absolute vital section of racetrack now in racing conditions. This is where you can look to effect an overtake or defend from the attacker behind. Down into Stowe, carry the speed in the corner, 3rd gear. Just hook up on that apex so you can run the car all the way out to the outside curb, maximise the momentum of the vehicle then. Tricky braking zone down into the club chicane. Look out for that curb on the inside, but monster this curb on the second part of the corner. Allow the car to breathe, allow the rear end to dance a little bit as we come through now down on to the Hamilton Straight and past the impressive Silverstone Wing Complex on the right hand side into the aforementioned Abbey corner, which sometimes in Formula 1 parlance is now the new first corner of Silverstone, through Farm and then into Village. Again, a very tricky braking point. Again, avoid that sausage curb on the inside. Now into the loop. This corner is borderline impossible for any mere mortal such as myself. You're scrabbling for traction on corner exit. While you're trying to get that corner exit as well, you've got to tip it into Aintree to carry the speed all the way down the Wellington Straight, rejoining the old layout of Silverstone. We're braking hard into Brooklands. You're a lot later in the apex into that corner than you feel like it behind the wheel, and then swing the car through Luffield. This is a tricky corner as well. Be patient on the throttle. Pick it up when the balance is absolutely perfect. Acceleration zone through Woodcock. No need to be concerned about this one. You go for the shortest run to the line, and courtesy of the one and only Imre Horvath, that's a lap of the Silverstone International Grand Prix circuit.
Not sure where he invalidated at. Must have been the first corner, but 2:02.4, definitely leaving a couple tenths on the table as John Papale is already into the 200s, which is going to be pretty typical around here. For the quicker drivers, you might expect to see some 159s, though, out tonight. I'd be pretty impressed if we did see so. The track conditions, 18-18, so it's going to be pretty optimum, all things considered, both ambient and track temp. Pretty much that happy hour temperature is what you would often call that, but typically that's after the track has gone cold and back up to this temp, so definitely could use a couple more degrees out there, but I guess what is you're not going to complain if it's a cloudy British day. At least there's no rain.
Yeah, I've got to say, this is probably the best weather that Silverstone's ever had. Every time I've been, and they're too numerous to count, it's either rained or been so windy that your face blows off. It really is. It's an airfield, of course. It's very open to the conditions, and with a crosswind in real life that you get at Silverstone as well, that will often change lap on lap. So you're never really at one with the car. You're never really confident that when you pitch into these fast corners, in particular as we're coming up now into Abbey, as we're looking at Tom Roberts, you're never quite sure if that car's going to stick. Tom doing a great job there, but did we see it bouncing on the suspension, Mike? That's how hard that these cars are being pushed around this track. You can't keep anything in reserve at Silverstone, because not only do you lose out on the corner that you're in, you're going to lose out on the following straight and the following corners. You've got to be 10/10 all the way through if you want to have any hope of extracting the lap times that you need to be competitive in a series like Porsche Playground.
No, absolutely. And of course, Tom Roberts, Williams' very own Tom Roberts, might I say, of course, the event executive, RCI founder, and of course, does various other things here at Williams. Looking like, yeah, he's going to need to do that, like you said, 10/10. I love that explanation, that expression as well, just trying to get the absolute maximum that you can out of this car. And this is one of the tracks that you can do it at as well, because there's no real punishing zones, not like Kyalami, where if you run off the track, you're going to be dipping a tire to the grass or the gravel, and your lap is going to be over and ruined, and you're potentially going to be finding a trip to the barrier if you go a little too deep. Here at Silverstone, you have a lot of wiggle room. There's a lot of off-track availability, a lot of runoff area as well, paved runoff, which makes it a lot nicer if you do end up going, let's say, deep through Maggots and Beckett's. That's a very easy corner to mess up. So seeing that a little bit more of the ability to push means that we're going to be seeing, especially when it comes race time, the ability to push each other a little bit more, and I cannot wait for that. Harsh Cartoon as well, 639. Welcome to the team. Thank you for the follow.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one, Mike. Of course, you're absolutely right. Because you've got an abundance of space, you've got the whole runoff areas, you do have that ability to maybe throw a little bit more risk at the situation, especially in racing conditions, because you can always bail out and go to one of the many escape roads and rejoin relatively unharmed on the racing surface. And that's one of the many different reasons why Silverstone produces so much good racing. But, and I'm going to counter what I said at the beginning of the previous race, qualifying is important here, because we've seen this so many times in Magic Mondays, in Porsche Playground. This field is stacked with talent. If you're mid-pack and you could have got more out of your qualifying, it's going to be very difficult to work your way through, even with the passing opportunities. So these are vital times for our drivers. This is their first foray into the championship for this season. You get out of trouble, stay out of trouble, should I say, qualify up the field, gently ease yourself into the race, and then see what develops over the next 30 minutes. If you're the likes of Ekman, for example, Christian, down there in 12th position, or Axel Van Mol just ahead of him, for example, that's a dangerous place to find yourself coming into this race, isn't it?
It certainly is, and I'm just trying to, before we get too far into this, Steinhauser is absolutely dominating right now in the qualifying. Now, of course, that is a name that we saw in a previous championship. Now, I don't think we saw him in the previous Porsche Playground Championship, though. I'm trying to find his name right now. He's doing an incredible job. He must have been in the GT3 championship last time around, so looking to translate the GT3 skills into the Porsche skills. My goodness, 1/10 off the market, especially when we're talking about the previous champion, John Papale. This is a very interesting prospect, and I did not have this on my bingo card. We also have Klassen getting involved, Baltus looking strong as ever. That was an expected name up in the top, and so is Tom Young. But a couple new names breaching that top 5.
Yep, fantastic to see, and that's what we genuinely love about this championship is the new drivers introducing new talents and new names to the Williams Gaming Club community. So big up to all those drivers that are making their debut in Magic Monday's Porsche Playground this evening, and a warm welcome to them all. As a reminder, by the way, while we have a moment's break in excitement, if you want to be one of our next new names, or even if you wanted to come back having previously raced, !Discord in the Williams Esports Twitch channel chat, and that will take you to the Williams Gaming Club Discord, where you can find out exactly what we're doing, when we're doing it, and how you can participate as well. Trust me. That'll be a very fine use of your time, so I highly recommend. Anybody on the fence that's thinking about it, don't think no more. Get in there and do it. You'll absolutely adore it.
Yes, absolutely. And I see we also have joining us in chat is going to be Harsh Cartoons, all the way from South Africa. It's a dang shame you just missed out, of course, on your home track that we were just on down in Kyalami for round one. If you did miss that, you can, of course, go back and check the VOD. Kyalami, of course, meaning my home in Zulu, or our home in Zulu, so definitely playing host there. And also wanted to, there was one fun fact that I wanted to throw out there, but Jody Scheckert is one of the only drivers to win. Of course, that was the only Kyalami or driver from South Africa to win at Kyalami, and that was back in 1975 in the Tyrrell. I butchered the heck out of that fun fact, but that's what happens when you try to do them off memory.
Yeah, and of course he was the 1979 Formula One World Champion and now has a vineyard somewhere in... Is it... I'm seeming to think it's back home in South Africa, but I could be mistaken on that one. But Jody, of course, very famous driver, and his many sons, which it seems like there seems to be hundreds of them, have all raced in different things as well, including IndyCar. I think Toby did at one point, if memory serves me correctly. But yeah, very much a blast from the past. He's one of those guys, he's the old school racing driver, isn't he? Where he kind of like just turned up, he'd been out for a drink last night, got a woman on one arm and a cigar on the other arm, and then goes motor racing, and then goes home and starts a vineyard, because why not? Very old school. I love that.
No, absolutely. I will say you got me on that one. Here though, let's go back to qualifying because we have John Papale, who's absolutely trying to bust the barn doors open right now and let all of the horses out of the stable. Papale, a little deep though, needs to keep it between the mayo and the mustard, and he only just does round the final corner and to the line. I think we are going to see an improvement, but how much? It's only a couple tenths. It could have been so much more.
Yeah, John gave away a couple of tenths in that final sector, but look at that though, 2 minutes, 0.7. That's very rapid in these conditions. Axel Van Mol, excuse me, Revolution Sim Racing car number 85. He's all the way down in 10th place at this moment in time, so Axel will be hoping to try and improve his lot in life at the conclusion of this lap. And one thing that I'm noticing, Mike, that we've not really seen much in Porsche Playground in years gone by. We've got quite a field spread at this moment in time, don't we? 1 second, but only covering the top 6. That's normally the top 15.
No, you're absolutely right, and only 1 second covering the next second as well, or rather, only 10 positions. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is quite the field spread, and of course, one of the things that could be playing nature to that is just the sheer size of this circuit: 3.6 miles, 5.8 kilometers. You're going to see some extra or some different lap times, but alternatively, this is much more of a simple circuit, quote unquote. So you would expect the lap times to be a little bit more within tune from each other. So very interesting notice here. Still, though, within just a couple 10,000s, we have Rodriguez and Jones, so they're definitely going to be giving each other a run for the money in the race. Baltus and Horvath, two drivers that are not unfamiliar with each other whatsoever, are going to be back next to each other. It looks like Linus Stern in the race, and Tom Young right behind them as well.
Yeah, Tom's doing a really good job, actually, at this moment in time. But they're in 6th position, so credit to Tom for a very solid qualifying thus far. We're talking as though it's over, of course. There's still 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock, so several of these drivers, certainly the drivers out of the racetrack, have still got an opportunity to go out there and set a final roll of the drives. Claudio Rodriguez, they were looking in the PDCY Infinity 8 Wheeze car. Wow, that's a mouthful and a half, isn't it? Currently in 7th position. So this is a very good drive from the number 91. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Mr. Noss. I think that's the first time that we've seen Rodriguez in Porsche Playground. And if it is, then a well inside the top 10 lap time is a very welcome introduction indeed.
Yeah, this is one of the drivers that Productive Panda was talking about earlier, repping the Panda City Esports. So that's what PDCY, I think. Panda City, maybe not, actually. I might have gone a little too by. Yeah, okay. Claudio, though, and Mondre, I think Mondre, I think is how you say that. My apologies on the mispronunciations. Both of them, though, are two new drivers to the league and cheered on by the Panda City Esports team.
And I've just seen, by the way, that Tom Bryant, our producer, has just typed in chat. RSR have 5 cars in the top 6, 7 cars in the top 10. It's not a bad day's work, is it?
Clearly, this team has been putting the practice in and all with each other, I would imagine, as well, considering those lap times are so close. John Papale, though, by the way, still hasn't improved much. I'm very surprised to see him only into the 2:00.7. I would have expected him to get into the lower 2 minutes, but nothing to shake his stick at, all things considered. Still quicker than I can make it around this circuit. Steinhauser behind him in second, 3/10 off the mark. But here, though, is Imre Horvath as he comes to the line. Can he find pole position? No. He's going to finish in 4th with no improvement to his time, unfortunately. And next up, we're going to be seeing all the drivers. The checkered flag has fallen, so no driver is allowed to start a lap, but any driver that was already on one will be allowed to finish one. And this, another new name, Tino Rene. Looks like he's going to be trying to finish up here very soon as well.
Yeah, Timo. Oh, that was a lot of grass indeed. Almost falling foul track limits. Let's see if the 992 can finish this lap. Currently in 15th position, as you say, a healthy 4 seconds away from the ultimate pace. But it's absolutely great to see this one. Mike and I, wax lyrical all the time about the Williams Gaming Club is for drivers of all different skills, experience and speed levels. Tino might be 4 seconds away from the pole as things stand, but the more that they race, the faster and more experienced and more confident they will become. And honestly, it accelerates your learning curve being in a race condition magnitudes more than free practicing and driving and testing on your own does. So Tino Rene doing a really, really good job so far in 15th, and it's very nice to see them making their debut here on Magic Mondays at Silverstone for the round 1 of the Porsche Cup Round.
And speaking of debuts, this is going to be Christian's debut in the Porsche coming to an end as well. I was going to make a comment on that livery, but clearly I don't have much time to do so. But what a brilliant livery that Steinhauser has brought to the table. The RSR team looks like they've updated their liveries a little bit this season. A couple of them have not. But chat, let us know who you're supporting out there. I see we have Bade Stone in chat cheering on Tom Roberts. Let us know who's your favorite driver. Who do you want to see win? Who do you want to see potentially in the wall? Let us know. Of course, we're not going to condone it, but we will, of course, allow it to happen, I guess. I don't know maybe I should have said that. Either way, Paul, I'm looking forward to this race tonight.
Deep down, us commentators cannot condone any of that kind of behaviour, but we love a little bit of controversy. It keeps things nice and spicy. So yeah, chat, do let us know who you're cheering for this evening, because of course, you good people keep Mike and I very good company over the course of these broadcasts, and we'll try our very best to pick out any questions that you may have or highlight any particularly noteworthy comments that you might make. So do let us know in the Williams Esports Twitch chat channel. Right then, collectively, take a sigh of breath. If you've got time to go to the bathroom, run like the wind and go do that one, because we're a few moments away from racing. And Mike, after qualifying, a lot of names that we recognise at the front of the field, which usually means we're going to have a really, really, really good race, because we've been here before with some of these drivers and they never ever let us down.
No, and Silverstone's a track that never lets us down either. I cannot wait for this one. It's going to be great drivers, a great track, and a great championship debut here for round 1 of the Porsche Playground, or Season 6. Round 1, Season 6 Porsche Playground. Again, we have so many various rounds and seasons here. It's technically Season 3 for the Porsche Playground, but Season 6. Anyways, all things, pay no mind to the man behind the curtain either way. We have a fun fact that was redeemed in chat as well, and of course, as it was going to be Scientist Monkey, make sure I can say it correctly this time, we have a great fun fact specifically for Remco, as of course it's going to be the one that he often wants. Paul, do you know how many bird species are in the area here of Northamptonshire?
Oh, it happened at the second race. No, sir. How many bird species are there in Northamptonshire?
Well, there's going to be around 20 native species that can be found around here. However, all things for around the world, you're going to find about 150 to 200 different bird species, some of which including the barn owls, skylarks, robins, various swallows, and lapwings that can be found throughout the entirety. Of course, it's the UK, you're right by the sea, so you're going to be seeing pretty much every seabird or migratory bird pretty much on the planet, because this is, believe it or not, the UK is considered warm.
And each and every one of those bird species has pooed on my car immediately after I've cleaned it. And that's the pleasure of living in the United Kingdom. So, bird species, we've not done trees yet though, Mike, so that's somebody else redeem a fun fact. We need tree species as well at some point.
Yes, indeed. They're in the books, so if somebody wants to know about the local trees, yeah, we're going to have some points being spent on that though.
Oh yes, oh for sure. Right then, prediction time, young sir. We've got John Papali, a reigning champion, on pole position. We've got a couple of names that are brand new to the championship in second and third, and then a former absolute superstar, Imre Horvath, in fourth. Who's your money on to come out of lap one as a race leader?
I am going to go a little bit out of... I think the basic choice would be John Papali, but I'm going to be honest, I want to see Tom Young. I'm going to say Tom Young is a driver that is going to find his way at least onto the podium, potentially into second.
Interesting call. Tom starting down there, of course, in sixth position, so has a little bit of work to do. I mean, you don't want to be in sixth and look ahead of you and see Niels Baltas and Horvath and John Papali in a Porsche. That you know you've got a hard day's work, and then of course we've got a couple of drivers in there as well that are unfamiliar names to this championship. So Tom's got a lot of work in front of him, and he's only got a 30-minute race, and there are no pit stops in this one. It's pure who is the quickest driver that can execute in the most perfect way possible. That's going to decide who takes checkered flags in races like this one. And as a driver myself, man, I love those events.
Yeah, also it's going to be pretty hard to bet against John Papali, the man on front, considering the fact that he has the most wins, I think, out of anyone in the Porsche playground. So all things considered, he will be the fan favorite. Or maybe the choice favorite. There's that livery that I was talking about. Look, it looks like a leaf. It's like a zoomed in version of a leaf. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You can always count on Revolution Sim Racing to give really, really cool liveries, can't you? And I like that one. And what I like most about it, it's distinguishable. As a commentator, that is gold for me.
And here we go, folks. Let's see who's going to be going for the gold here as we have 30 minutes on the clock. This is race 2 of tonight, round 1, season 6 of Porsche Playground. John Papali and Stuyvenhauser alongside. We are green, and immediately Papali pretty much has taken the change out of Stuyvenhauser's pocket. Behind that, Clausen settles in. Now everybody going nip and tuck as they head down to Maggots and Beckett's. Not many overtaking chances to be found here, but as we get to the exit of this corner complex, through the chicane and onto the long Wellington or Hangar Straight, this is where the opportunities can arise. Slingshot yourself out through Chapel, onto the stretch, down towards Stowe. It's a long line of cars and a pack of angry bees, some might say, side by side in the background. It looks like Tom Young and Rodriguez, as Tom trying to make his way up through the field once more. Claudio forced to the outside. He's going to have to hand that position back, and everybody else nip and tuck down into the Vale.
Yeah, this is a textbook start here at Silverstone. Then Rodriguez, whoa, careful, almost collects the back of Tom Young, but does a good job to get that 91 stopped in time and stays out of trouble. But a classic Silverstone start, a little bit of jostling, a little bit of high-speed strategy driving from these drivers. What I want to see now is everybody go nose to tail for a couple of laps, get the cars up to temperature, understand where the opportunities may or may not present themselves, and then do something about it. Imre Horvath, though, has no such breathing room. Niels Baltas throws it down the inside. Baltas, though, has the outside line. The RSR teammates fighting as they go, and there comes Tom Young. Sees an opportunity, takes an opportunity, moves up past Horvath. Moves up past Baltas.
Imre having to look in the rearview mirror now towards Tom Young. Ahead of him is going to be Mondre Clausen, and above them, Christian Steinhauser. Leader, though, I have to say, John Papali taking away and trying to sail into the lead now, about a second of a gap, give or take, as we go on to the end of the lap 1 here. We see those side by side here from Horvath and Tom Young down the start-finish straight, and Imre Horvath is going to be on the disadvantage. Tom Young, he's trying to plow his way through this field as quickly as he can, and he's up a couple positions on the end of lap 1. Imre Horvath, left with his jaw on the floor, is now we're going to see Rodriguez try to go around the outside of Maggots and Beckett. There's near contact, but that is a lick the stamp and send it if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that was a class overtake from Rodriguez. Maximum bravery, perfect precision as well. Put the car in exactly the right place. It takes two to tango, so credit where credit's due to Imre Horvath as well for giving him the racing route that he commanded. But that was beautiful stuff from Rodriguez. Hello, welcome to Porsche Playground. You, sir, have done yourself a power of good in my eyes with that move. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. But Rodriguez now, he needs to detach himself as quickly as possible from Imre Horvath, and he needs to chase after Tom Young. Not the easiest thing in the history of motor racing world, but very much achievable. Tom is bit between the teeth in this early stage of the race. It would do Rodriguez the power of good to latch on to the back of that number 70 Porsche and see if he can bring them into the conversation at the front of the field headed by that man John Papali.
Revolution Sim Racing 1-2 right now, and Klassen now in third. Tom Young currently pretty much in a sandwich of his teammates, or I guess Klassen in a sandwich of RSRs, I guess would be the better description. But one luxury that Imre Horvath has is his teammate behind him, Nils Baltus, so he knows that he doesn't need to worry too much from behind. They're more than likely in a Discord communicating with each other and can worry only about Claudio Rodriguez ahead. This a little bit further back down the field, Tom Roberts looking to claw his way back through the ranks. He's up one position from where he started, currently down from 14th up into 13th, but looking at the back of Ricardo Maciera right now, and ahead of them Lev Litvinenko in 11th as well.
Yeah, good bit of racing going on all the way through the pack. 19 cars started this race, 17 cars are currently on track at this moment in time, and Tom Roberts, Williams' own Tom Roberts, in the very beautiful gold livery number 232. He's got a bit of breathing space at this moment in time from Christian Ekman. That's going to give him an opportunity. Nils Baltus has some breathing space from no one, because he's all the way into the diffuser of Imre Horvath's car ahead, who for good measures trying to chase down Rodriguez in front. RSR time. This is strategy calling time now, Mike, isn't it? This is where the first 5 minutes of the race are in the books. We've already got a bit of a lie of the land, so to speak, as to where you're going to line up in the running order. Now you need to work together. You've got to be a unit as one in order to try and drag yourself up into that podium contention fight.
One thing I'm trying to remember back to, I think it was a couple seasons ago in Magic Mondays, we had somebody in chat from the Revolution Sim Racing team. I can't remember if it was RSR or if it was the Baller Squad Racing team that had made the comment, but one of the two teams mentioned that it's gloves off. There is no team orders for the team, and I think it was Revolution Sim Racing. I'm pretty sure they are all gloves off. There's no necessarily team orders to work together. So these two are allowed to race each other as hard as they want. However, as you're mentioning, they're very much inclined to work together right now and try to benefit each other, and then take the gloves off later and worry about the infighting at a later date. Get rid of Rodriguez and then deal with the team fights later.
Yeah, precisely. It's just intelligent racecraft, that's all that is. It's nothing to do with being teammates or anything or any relationships that pre-exist. It's just sensible racecraft. Work with each other for the collective good, and then when it becomes less valuable to do so, that's when you squabble over who takes home which prize. And that's exactly what I'm sure the two RSR drivers will be doing. And that's exactly what Claudio Rodriguez will be aware of. He's the meat in the RSR sandwich. He knows he's flying solo on this one. He's got no support. There are no quote-unquote friends for him out on track. So whatever Rodriguez does, he's going to have to do it himself. He's going to have to deliver and achieve it on his own. And that's not a comfortable place to be as a driver. But you know what the easiest answer is? You know what the simplest way to get rid of that problem is? Go faster than everybody around you, and then it doesn't become a problem. And that's exactly what Rodriguez is going to be doing, staying very firmly in touch with Tom Young in that 5th and 4th position respectively. I've been very impressed with Rodriguez, and I continue to be so. Still a lot of racing to go, but so far this has been a very, very impressive debut performance.
It certainly has, and Claudio Rodriguez, I would imagine if we look at the side of his car at the Pandon, I would imagine that's what his face is looking like at all times throughout this race. Just locked in, dialed, and screaming constantly at the wheel. That right there you can see on the side, right near the quarter panel as we go ready to go side by side, maybe even three abreast here as we go towards the back straight, and Claudio not gaining the advantage through Abby, almost loses the position as well to Imre Horvath. Now the two teammates from the background, they're going to go side by side, Niels Baltus and Horvath. Who is it going to be advantage to? As I think Imre has gone a little too deep and off the circuit. Will hold the position though, not giving any ground to Niels Baltus, and despite the kerfuffle that we just witnessed, cars to the left, cars to the right, no changes whatsoever, Paul.
No, that's very surprising, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Rodriguez will be mightily aware that everybody's in an RSR car apart from him. That's a little change of position. Further back, Horvath and Baltus side by side. Baltus does have the inside line again though, and does Horvath holds on to that one in the number 53. They need to squabble less. They need to concentrate on Rodriguez. That's where the fight is for these drivers at this moment in time, because look at this one. Tom Young is under all of the pressure in the world. Young is the proverbial cork in the bottle at this stage in the race. I fear that, well, not fear for Tom at least, but if Rodriguez can find a way past, he's going to be able to squirrel away some lap time against these cars and start gapping this RSR squabble. It's critical that Horvath and Baltus work as a collective singular item to get that purple silver car behind them so they can fight amongst each other, unimpeded by an outsider, shall we say, in terms of the RSR squads.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those no plan survives first contact, especially with the enemy, and Rodriguez is certainly proving to be the enemy. What's happened to Steinhauser though? Christian is around, there's a yellow flag out on circuit, and that's him stranded in the grass. He's dropping down the order. Was there contact? It was into the Vale chicane, it looks like, but either way, is there a disconnect? Something has gone on. Very, very unfortunate. It looks like they have disconnected from the server, so potentially internet issues arise. That is gutting for Steinhauser, as he was doing such a good job up to this point.
Yeah, it really, really is. For second position on your first race of the year, absolutely fabulous performance and heartbreaking end result. But of course, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, as they always say. So I'm sure Christian will be back. What makes somebody stronger as well is trading paints with fellow Porsches at around 110 miles an hour. And that's exactly what Imre Horvath is doing at this moment in time with Imre Horvath and Claudio Rodriguez. Rodriguez just about holding on. Horvath having a little look. That's a very late send to the inside. He's not going to have the room to get alongside. But this tells me now that Imre Horvath is in absolutely zero mood to stay behind the car in front. Game on. This is gloves off. This is, I'm going to have your position one way or the other. Best of luck over the next 19 minutes and 45 to hold on to it.
Claudio is going to be sweating like a cow when a burger joint in the back end almost steps out. Such a close call there, but everything firmly planted. That's that lack of traction control almost costing Claudio everything he's worked for. Look at how aggressively he's turning into these corners too. It's almost like he has more grip than Tom Young at this stage. I'm wondering if the tire management has played a role. Let's see as we go down onto the hanger straight. He takes the alternate line, which is going to kind of actually hinder his straight line speed at the end of the day, but he's still very close in the slipstream, looking to make a move, but the car planted in the middle for Tom Young, not going to allow Rodriguez by. Next look though, the Vale chicane. Are we going to be seeing a potential gap to the in? It's open. However, is it open to the wrong car as Imre Horvath thinks about making his name known into this conversation? He doesn't, but still, going to be Claudio having to play that guessing game of looking in the mirror. When is the car behind going to make a move, and when can I go for it as well?
Guessing game. That is a beautiful, beautiful way to put it. That's exactly what Rodriguez has to deal with. Horvath is throwing that nose down, half measure looks, just hanging the car on the rear quarter. Terribly frustrating as a defending driver, because you're never quite sure if you need to give that racing room or not. There we go again. Horvath to the inside. That's never going to work in a month of Sundays, Imre. Don't waste your time on that one, and exactly on cue. Rodriguez now retakes the position, but look at this one. This is defence time now for Claudio Rodriguez. He knows he's going to be vulnerable. Henry Horvath is not afraid to throw the nose up the inside, and there he goes massively deep, does Horvath. That'll be a cutback opportunity for Rodriguez. Thank you very much. I'll take that one. And that move, Mike, is an exactly beautiful reason as to why you don't make a manoeuvre unless you're guaranteed to clear it, because Horvath has lost the position to Bottas, having gone so deep in what was frankly points for trying, but it was never going to be on that manoeuvre.
No, really only accomplishing picking up some marbles on the tires and then, like you said, losing a position for good measure and making his day even harder. Thankfully, he only lost it to a teammate. That's not the end of the world, but right behind the background now is going to be Jones. Let's take a look, though. This is the replay that happened, I think, with the disconnector that led to it. So this is where this is Mercier, excuse me, down in P12. Whoa, as it's wrestling an octopus and almost saves the car, but ends up turning back into traffic, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Mercier. Of course, didn't recognise the fact that Livienko was to the inside, and unfortunately, an inside bit of contact will always lead to somebody spinning out. Mercier would be the one on this occasion. He's in pit lane as well, so down in 16th on the timing streak. Let's remember, 16th still pays out 20 points. You don't want to be retiring, because that's a good handful of points for Ricardo. But as things stand, he's stationary on pit lane. He's going to look at get it Henry Horvath, and again, an interesting story around this car, because look at the gap between himself and those in front. Henry Horvath has got a bit of a job on his hands now, I think, to try and close down on Bottas.
Yeah, he's kicked it in reverse gear, unfortunately, since we last checked in with him. He's dropped even more down the order. This is back at that fight, though, with Rodriguez, Young, and Bottas. So this is sort of the fight of the century, the gladiator battle of the ages, you might say. And let's see who is going to come out on top here. And I would imagine each one of these drivers at this point, Paul, is going to be sweating more than I could ever imagine. It's going to be about 150 degrees in the room of each of these drivers, and the internal temperature has got to be just boiling over at this stage.
Yeah, it's all about pressure. Let's have a look then. This is what happened to Henry Horvath a few moments ago. Whoa, that's a massive moment. I think that was up in a stow, quite possibly, and good save from Horvath to keep the car pointing broadly in the same direction. But the kind of disadvantage that's going to give you takes a very long time indeed to make up for. So Henry, a little bit cast adrift down there in 7th position. That's good news, though, for the drivers ahead. And I think Wyn Jones, by the way, that is Cam Wyn Jones, has moved up in a 6th position, courtesy of that one. So another driver that we've seen for the first time this season in Porsche Playground, having a barnstorming drive up there in the top 6. Well done, Cam.
Absolutely, up 2 positions from where they started. Claudio up 3 positions, Tom Young up 3 positions, and our biggest gainer is actually Williams' very own Tom Roberts up 4 positions. So we see not the biggest movers, all things considered. No, like, one driver sticking out necessarily. However, we're seeing consistent movement throughout the field, and a lot of drivers also, of course, meaning that there are some that have moved the other way as well, and the biggest droppers being Ricardo. We also had Henry Horvath, of course, down 3, and Litvinenko down 1. But Cam Jones, yes, sort of the dark horse that we hadn't necessarily suspected in this equation. He got by Henry Horvath for free, and now has welcomed himself firmly into this battle.
Yeah, love it to see things like this. But great stuff from Cameron Jones. Oh, there we go. That's an alternative racing line. So just as I was about to lavish praise on Cameron Jones, he returns to the actual racing surface and continues his particular challenge. Unfortunately for Cam, though, oh no, come back to that one. That's Nils Bottas recovering to the racetrack. So what has happened to the number 24? Bottas very much in the conversation for the top 3 fight. Not so long ago, now drops behind Colin Hines all the way down in 8th. Mike, this one's turned into a race that nobody wants a result.
This seems like this is a game of mistakes. So this is Rodriguez getting sent on, and Rodriguez says, yep, come on in. The door is wide open because you are going way too fast for that corner entry speed. And, well, the results certainly did wind themselves down there, and we see Nils Bottas down into 8th as a result. A bit of a miscalculation, I would say.
Yeah, small miscalculation, relatively large penalty paid for it for Baltus. Good news though for Nils is he's absolutely well and truly still in the geographical real estate area of the other car. So despite having lost positions, he's still very firmly in the conversation, so to speak. We'll keep our eye, a half an eye, on Nils Baltus over the course of the next 13 minutes and 7 seconds left in this race as we cycle back to Imre Horvath, another driver that's been aggressive on the brakes, shall we say. Still trying to find a way past other cars. And it's Cameron Jones, by the way, that's now up in a 5th position. So Cameron, last time we checked it, he's made another place, and now he's making a bestest buddy as they rub paint. Look like Horvath, though, is going to have to think again on how to get past, and does so around the outside. I like that one, Sunshine, well played.
Oh, just running Cam Jones out of room, and now having to rejoin the circuit. I think he got a little touch there from Colin Hines as well. Just gets back onto circuit, but Imre Horvath says, put that in your pipe and smoke it, and does not allow Cam Jones to allow anything to get done. Now, looking in the rearview mirror, Colin Hines, Nils Baltus, they want to move forward. They want to regain that ground, and on cue, Colin Hines loses position to Nils Baltus. Bit of a mistake there from the Revolution Sim Racing team, or was that team orders?
To be honest, if I was Colin and I saw how aggressive Baltus and all the other drivers in RSR have been, and I say aggressive in the best way possible, of course, I think Colin's done the very, very right call. Don't get involved in that one. It's just not your game today. You're not at the pace of these other guys in this race. Let them go. Don't get wrapped up in any shenanigans and just bring home the result for yourself. And I dare say, the aggressive stance of Nils Baltus will probably open up more doors for Colin Hines in front of him than he would do if Colin was trying to keep him back behind, because look at that one. Immediately, Cameron Jones under pressure from the number 24. Closed up on the back in less time than it took me to tell you that's what had happened.
Also another battle that to keep an eye on track a little bit further down the order. We don't need to necessarily go to it yet, but Christian Ekman and Litvinenko, they are having a little bit of a ding-dong battle down in 11th position right now. So the other Ekman is, of course, we have various Ekmans, or no, we only have the one Ekman out there tonight, don't we? But of course, multiple Ekmans taking part throughout the Magic Monday Championships. This time, we just have Christian down in 12th position. But looking at the man on screen right now, he's getting a little out of shape and losing a bit of time, so maybe we take the camera off and not commentators cursing.
Yeah, there's some attention-grabbing wheels, though, on Christian Ekman's car. Very bold colour schema, a new set of livery for the course of the new season. Claudio Rodriguez, by the way, that we briefly looked at then, still in 4th position, harrying Tom Young. Nils Baltus still in 7th position, harrying Cameron Jones just ahead of him. So let's have a look at this one then. So we've got Mondre Classen in 2nd position, Claudio Rodriguez in 4th, Cameron Jones in 6th, and they're all new drivers to the series in 2nd, 4th and 6th respectively. I don't care who you are or what experience you've got, that's a damn impressive set of drives. Ooh.
What the heck did we just see in the background? Jones and Hines, I think we're just escorting each other off the track there. I'm assuming one of those two went a little bit late on the brakes. That is just going to be my assumption. I'm sure be catching a replay of that very, very shortly to see what the heck just unfolded between the 993 and the 89. And here it is. Let's take a look. So we're taking a look at the 89. This is Colin Hines. He is well in the background right now. So this is going to be a bit of a lick the stamp and send it without. Oh, goodness. That is... yeah.
That's accidentally eaten the stamp and having to go to accident emergency at hospital rather than licking it and sending it for Colin Hines. Yes, that was scratching around in my book of more polite things than not to say. Optimistic. There we go. Optimistic from Colin.
Certainly looked Death in the face and said, give me your best shot, and Death responded by punching him in the face over and over and over again. It's unfortunately the way that it's gone a couple times here tonight, but now looking back at with Claudio Rodriguez, this is a man who's been thrown into the dungeon. He's been thrown through the gladiator ring, and it does not matter what you put this man through. You can ring him up, you can knock him down. He's always going to get back on the high horse. Claudio Rodriguez still trying to find his way onto the bottom step of the podium against Tom Young, who, by the way, I want to say I predicted onto the podium earlier on, and looking very strong indeed.
Yep, doing an absolutely outstanding job as Tom Young so far, but not as outstanding as Claudio Rodriguez. Come on, look at this one, the stance of that car, the body language of the number 91 says it's a case of when and not if. We're having a look to the outside line. That's just to encourage Tom to run a little bit deep, which right on cue, Tom does so. Outside line again for Rodriguez. Again, that's just positioning the car. It's got to manoeuvre because this is the switchback you're looking for. Thank you very much. Claudio Rodriguez, he bought himself a book on how to overtake for Christmas, and he's been studying that one very nicely indeed. Textbook, absolutely textbook from Rodriguez. A beautiful, committed and precise manoeuvre as you're ever likely to see.
A Picasso-like performance here from Rodriguez, and just with a few more minutes to go, 7.5 minutes left till they make the checkered flag. The Panda City team is looking quite strong. Keep in mind, they're currently sitting 2-3 right now, as we also have Mondre Klassen in second and Claudio Rodriguez in third. This, though, is our race leader, a man that we have mentioned maybe about 2 or 3 times at the top of the broadcast, but since have not said a lick of the word. John Papale looking to do what he did last season again.
Yeah, Papale is just simply put an absolute class act. 4 wins that he took last season on the way to becoming the Williams Gaming Club Porsche Playground champion, and a little bit of an off-season break. Seems to have done absolutely nothing to dent that momentum. Papale, class act, great driver, great race car, racer as well, even when the pressure is applied, and this is looking like a very, very commanding victory. 17 seconds to the good with 6 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. That's certainly not something we see very often in this championship, and that's a measure of just how commanding that Papale's performance has been thus far. Really, really impressive.
Yeah, and I don't know how that's going to be stopped as we move through the championship. So if you are a driver out there that says, oh, 2 minute and 1 second lap times in a Porsche 992 GT3 Cup, easy. I can do that in my sleep. Get out here then, get out signed up for the Williams Gaming Club at the Porsche Playground, and go and give John Papale a run for his money, because my God, he needs one right now. 17 seconds is the gap, and Klassen, not to say it's been a class act from them, but John Papale is just on another level, it seems, right now.
Yep, deeply impressive indeed, over a second quicker than pretty much the rest of the field on the last lap, such as the level of dominance for Papale. Of course, he's got the advantage that he's not really racing against anybody at the moment, just himself and the clock, unlike Claudio Rodriguez, who for the first time, pretty much in this entire 30-minute race, it's a bit of breathing room. He's got not a car in front, nor a car behind, nor somebody climbing over the top of him. So let's have a look what Rodriguez can dig out of the data banks and how much pace that he can find in the PDCY Infinite Rees number 91 machine. Great performance from this team. First time that we've seen them in the Porsche Playground. Currently running in second and third position, Mondre Klassen and Claudio Rodriguez respectively. Great performance then. Slightly interesting colour scheme. I do like a bit of pink, but maybe not quite so shocking on the wheels. And they've really impressed everybody. Shocking is the performance that we can attribute to that team, I think it's fair to say, right? Shocking in a very, very good way.
Yes, no, for genuinely knocking the doors down on the entrance to the championship. This is a way to arrive in style. They always say fashionably late. I think this is a fashionable way, no matter how you look at it, to finish a race. Klassen Rodriguez for the Panda City team looking to dominate this one. Yellow flag out on track as well. Christian Ekman struggling, it seems, at this stage. But there's also been another relighting of the fire between the battle of Colin Hines and Cam Jones. We know what happened on the last time these two were next to each other. Let's see if it happens again. More contact. You never know. There's still 4 minutes left here, and this is going to be the battle for 8th place.
Yeah, mark my words, there'll not be a single driver on this racetrack anywhere near as determined as Cameron Jones to not let another car past. He was looking really good for, at worst, a top 6 finish until sadly having a little bit of contact with Colin Hines. So Colin will have that in the back of his mind as well. If he's going to launch another attack in the next 3 minutes and 40 seconds, he wants to be pretty confident he can do that in the cleanest way possible. And Cameron Jones, he'll have absolutely zero desire of letting that one happen. Let's have a look then. This is Christian Ekman that we saw falling down the running order a little bit earlier on through the Maggots and Beckett's complex of corners. Every one of us have done that one. A little bit of understeer is not your friend, and sadly, over the grass we go, and it's a shame for Ekman, just loses the car on the slippery stuff. No damage though, a position lost, but a whole lot of time goes with it as well. Not the kind of performance that we expect from Ekman and that we've seen in previous years, so bit of work still to do.
Yeah, certainly is, and thankfully not rejoining the circuit there. That was very close and definitely a clinching one, as once he was on the grass, he was a full passenger with really no control, and so able to just get it slowed down before rejoining the exit there of Maggots and Beckett's into Chapel. And having to be, well, sent to an early funeral, unfortunately. So there we go. Christian Ekman avoids the results there. And now back to the battle of Colin Hines and Cam Wynne Jones. This is for 8th. And it's almost looking like Colin Hines is lacking in pace, which doesn't make any sense looking at the timing towers, considering that he was 2/10 faster on the previous lap, but that gap just not quite closing down to where he would like it to be. Also, just a quick little follower for everyone that's hit the follow button. Issa Andrea _Za, thank you for the follow. Also to Puff Pirate, thank you for the follow. Skins SG or CSG, thank you for the follow, as well as Teresor83. You guys are amazing. Sorry that I've been missing a couple of those, but thank you all so much for hitting that follow button. You guys are absolutely amazing.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful stuff. Going back to the Colin Hines situation, I do wonder if perhaps he's more settled now in ninth position, less enthusiastic about the prospects of getting too heavily involved with Cam Wynne Jones following the contact we saw a few laps ago. In fact, speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Cam Wynne Jones makes a mistake, so now Colin Hines, we wondered if he was going to be a little bit reluctant to attack. I think, Mike, the answer's been taken very firmly out of his grasp. He's got no choice but to charge now and find a way past Jones.
And this is the real last chance as well. Down to the inside, it's going to be full send baseball, and it looks like Cam Wynne Jones is going to secure it firmly. Now, Colin Hines, is he going to be able to respond? That's the question. Excuse me, Colin Hines, my apologies. Vice versa. The ACC timing towers always lying to me. That's why I should never look at them. Cam Wynne Jones down into 9th.
Yeah, that's a shame for Cam, so it's starting to fall away a little bit now. Some great pace at the start of the race, great performance from Cam Wynne Jones on debut in the Porsche Playground, but I think that car's starting to get a little bit away from him now. The tyres are well and truly past their best, maybe even a bit of frustration starting to creep in a little bit for the number 993 Porsche, and I think Cam Wynne will, at very least, if the result is not quite what he was looking for in this race, there's a lot of learnings to take away and a lot that you can use in your arsenal of capabilities for future rounds. It's been impressive nevertheless though, and a great first foray into the series for Cam Wynne Jones.
Absolutely. It can always be intimidating to go out there for the first time and try to go with a unfamiliar crowd of folks and see what you can manage on track, but it's been dominance for not just the top 3, I should say, is Mondre and Claudio doing an incredible job for their debuts, but everybody here tonight certainly has something to take away from the evening. Lots of new names joining us, which we absolutely love to see. We have Skrut as well as Rene. Litvinenko, I think, is a new name. Jones. Baltus, of course, rejoining Rodriguez and Klaassen, but it's this man here on screen, John Papale, everyone, that from the word go has dominated this field. Round the final corner now, and to take the checkered flag for round 1 here at Silverstone, season 6 of Magic Mondays, the Porsche Playground, decided by Papale once more. Mondre Klaassen up next to the line, and it's going to be a second place finish for them. Incredible result for the Panda City team as a whole. Claudio Rodriguez takes home 3rd ahead of Tom Young and Emery Horvath, rounding out your top 5.
Well, the season might be different, but the result is exactly the same. That is a performance of the ages for John Papale. Beautiful drive for the race victory with 66 points that come from that win. Klassen, as you say, and Rodriguez on the podium on debut. Great performance from them. Colin Hines crosses the line just ahead of Camwyn Jones for 8th and 9th position respectively. And Tom Roberts, massive improvement from qualifying for Tom, all the way up there in the top 10. Great stuff. And Tino Rene, another one of our new driver names, a little bit of flair to the final couple of corners. They improve a couple of positions on the qualifying result, cross the line in 13th place, and another debut performance in the books, and all the good things and learnings that come from it. Great stuff from Tino.
Behind him, Chris Timms, also Gregor Skurt and Ricardo Merciera, unfortunately with a DNF for that race. But all in all, Paul, I think it's just to be said once more, the Porsche Playground, it never fails to deliver. What an incredible championship, what incredible cars, what incredible drivers we have on display as well.
And I think, Mike, I agree wholeheartedly with everything you've said. But what I really love to see, and I've said this before, but it's nice to have some evidence. Every year, every season, Porsche Playground is incredible with some great racing. We've swapped out a lot of drivers for this new season. There's a lot of new names. Lo and behold, the racing's still incredible. So bravo to all our drivers that took part in that one, new names and old. Always great value for money. And I think that was a very worthwhile 30 minutes of our time, that race, with a deserving winner. But who is going to beat John Papale? That's the biggest question.
Is it going to be you in chat? Yes, you. I'm talking to you out there listening right now. Get into the Discord. Signups are available for every single one of the championships that you are watching tonight. And on top of that, we have more championships, more races, more one-off, fun-off events, and endurance, the like. We have the Dario Sports Car Challenge. It's already concluded. My apologies. I'm looking at the previous. The Dario Sports Car Challenge at Bathurst. That's the one that I was looking at. There we go. There's already up on iRacing, Williams Gaming Club. Head on over. This is going to be, of course, with Dario 87 or FR87 Dario for Teeny. If you guys are unfamiliar, of course, one of the Williams content creators, and he's going to be hosting a league there, available on SimGrid. We also have some one-off, fun-offs. Sebring 6 Hour. That's going to be on the 15th of March coming up. That'll be iRacing. And now just announced today, we have 6 hours of the Green Hell, the Nordschleifer, coming up on the 23rd of March. That's an ACC race as well. So if you're looking for iRacing, if you're looking for ACC, Williams Gaming Club is your place. Head on over to the Discord, head on over to the SimGrid for more information.
Yeah, could not agree more. That's some great advice, Mike. And I do absolutely implore you, good people watching at home, to do exactly that. And again, we've said it in the live commentary, and I'm going to say it again now. If you are an alien, you are welcome. If you're a mid-pack racer, you are welcome. If you were just starting out on your journey and you're trying to find seconds of pace, you are more than welcome. The best way to learn, the best way to get thrills and excitement is to get on the track and go racing with everybody. We saw that already from Tino out on track there, brought the pace up over the course of the race, and that's going to be an invaluable lesson. So don't be afraid, don't be thinking, oh, I'm on the fence, this is not for me, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. We ask you one thing and one thing only: drive fair and respectfully. Everything else doesn't matter. Get out there and have some fun with us. !Discord, !SimGrid, !WGC for more information in our chat.
Yes, indeed. And a big thank you as well to Alistone_ for the follow. Welcome to the team here on Williams. And a nice cheer for Claudio and Panda City here from Andre in chat. And now we got some cheering on Angelo as well. So we have a new race, format pretty much entirely, as we have a pit stop coming up in this one. So this is going to be a little bit different, as well as it's going to be a little bit different than last year. So of course last year, I guess. It still does apply, but either way, last championship is more what I was getting along to. But we have not 3 classes this time, but we have 2 classes. So we're going to have both gold and silver, and instead of the qualifying being 3 10-minute races, it's just going to be 2 12-minute races. So a slightly different change to the format, but the point structure has not been changed. Everything there is going to be exactly the same. So all things considered, Paul, I think it's time that we head on down here and we talk track of what we're going to be seeing for the GT3s as they get ready to tackle the Nürburgring. One of course, history's favorite tracks here for the Spring Cup, and this is going to be a great track for the drivers to debut on the Nürburgring, of course, famous for the Nordschleifer as well, but here tonight, not going to be that variant. We have the much shorter circuit of the actual Nürburgring.